All right, it's on. It's working. We're working. Today, we're going to look at parabolas that will open either left or right. X, and then the y is squared, or x, and then the y is squared. Okay? And we're going to cover both forms today in here because you already know basically how all this works. And what's going to happen with your parabolas today is you just take that picture that I drew and you turn it on its side, and it'll tell you how far to count. All right? But you got to turn that picture on its side. Now, for this one, the vertex is still HK. But be careful. Your H value is out here, and here's your K because there's where your Y is. All right? Right there. Now, if you have a positive A, it will open to the right. And if you have a negative A, it will open to the left. And you should be able to figure out where the focus, directors, and all that are going to be at, the lattice recti, by simply taking your picture and rotating it either to where it opens to the right or rotating it to where it opens to the left. Now, add the other bit of news. 1 over 4p still equals the absolute value of A. So all that information, just like for the other ones, is good. Just be real careful with your H and your K here. And just remember, they're going to open what? Right or left. Now, when you're working this one, the vertex is still going to use the minus b over 2a, except now the minus b over 2a is going to find your y value. Because look at your a and your b. They're all associated with the what? Y. And then you will use substitution to find your x. All right? So the minus b over 2a, just remember, that's going to be a y value now. Now, I don't need to rewrite the rest of the information because it's all the same. And then I'm going to give my little speech here. I'm going to let everyone write, and then I want everyone looking at me for my little speech. To find x-intercepts, make y equal 0. To find y-intercepts, make x equal 0. That is the same rule for all of the graphs. If you want to know x-intercepts, make y equal 0. If you want to know y-intercepts, do what? Make x equal 0. We're only going to worry about x and y-intercepts on these. All right? We should on these, but we're not going to. Okay. Also, let me mention this about these. These parabola shapes are not functions because they will not pass the what? Vertical line test. See that? Everybody remember the vertical line test for functions? Remember the vertical line? If the vertical line hits it in two places, it is not a function. For each x value in a function, you only get one y value. Well, here, you get a y value here and a y value here for the same x value. For functions, each x produces one y. So these two are not functions. And if you're in Algebra 2, did y'all do these in Algebra 2 or just the ones that opened up and down? Because some Algebra 2 books don't have these in them because they're not functions. All right, here we go. I'm going to work some examples. Pretty easy stuff. X equals 1/8 y minus 2 squared plus 1. All right. The vertex is 1, 2. Because look, It's got the minus sign where we want it. It's got the plus sign, so the vertex is 1, 2. Vertex 1, 2. And the only thing students do wrong is they'll make the vertex backwards because they don't realize since you have y here, that's the y value. Y value. All right. Now we're going to put that on our graph. 1, 2. Vertex. Then, if I look at my picture, I know that I need to turn it on its side so that the U is facing this way, like this problem right here. We want the U facing this way. Look at our pretty picture with all of our P's and everything on it. We find our P value. 1 over 4P equals 1/8. P equals 2. Be very careful. I'm going to go to the right and to the left. I change the x value. That's going to be 3, 2 is the focus. Count backwards 2, you're going to be at x equals -1. Now, we're relying on you to remember vertical lines are always x equals. When you move left and right, you change x. When you move left and right, you change x. Now, once we get to that point, we are going to do the lattice recti. And I'm going to use something different to do lattice recti. Here we go. Lattice recti. Multiply your p value times 2. So you get distance of what? 4. You count up 4 from the focus. 3, 6. Count 4 down. 3, -2. Move that one up a little bit more to make it pretty since I don't have graph paper. And there you go. Use the picture. The picture is the key. How many of you have that picture drawn out real nice and neat with the little P's and the 2 P's and all that on it? All right? If I ever get around to giving a test on this when we're all back in school, which I think is going to happen pretty soon, I'm going to ask you to draw that picture. Draw the general picture for the parabola with the little P's and 2 P's on it. All right? So far, so good. Any questions? Got to be a question. Someone that's watching this on the video says he never asks questions that he requires someone to answer with specific answers. Yeah, maybe I'm not as good a teacher as I used to be. Plus, there's not many of you in here, so if you need help, wave the train down. The boat is leaving the dock. Start running. All right, next problem. Here we go. On the next one, you're going to get the answer to your question about all the bad little p values. X equals y squared plus 2y plus 1. I think this is kind of fun. Now, minus b over 2a. Just remember, I'll put the work over here. Vertex. Minus b over 2 times a is going to be a -1. That's going to be a y value. Now, when you put the -1 in here and square it, you get a +1. And then all that works out to be 0. Because that's going to be a +1 minus 2 plus 1. All right? Just remember, negative numbers squared are positive. So I'll label my vertex 0, -1. Now I'm going to exaggerate the -1, put it good ways down here because I already know that. What's the p-value going to work out to be, folks? You've worked enough of these to know. The p-value is A equals 1. What does p-value turn out to be? Say it real loud. Yes, ma'am. Say it. Be brave. 1/4. Don't be timid. Be brave. 1/4. P-value is 1/4. Okay. Let's show you how to work that. We'll do the. All right. 1 over 4p equals 1. Multiply by common denominator. 4p equals 1. P equals how much? 1/4. What did I do to get from here to here? I multiplied both sides by what? 4p. Someone uses one of those foul language statements in here and calls it cross multiplication. Yeah, okay. Wash your mouth out with soap. All right. Parents still say that? 1/4, comma, -1 is the focus. Directrix, x equals -1/4. Now, it's time to find the lattice recti. What are you going to do to that p-value in order to find the lattice recti? You're going to multiply it by what? Someone say it, please. 2. I'm going to give that man 100 here today. I'm going to give everybody else now. Multiply by 2. I'm going to put my little LRs right over here. Lattice recti. 2 times 1/4 is how much? 1/2. That means I'm going to count up a half and down a half for the focus. So that's going to be 1/4, comma, add a half, and then I'm going to come down here, 1/4, subtract a half, and I'm going to start making my graph. Oh, and don't forget axis of symmetry, ladies and gentlemen. Axis of symmetry on these. This one would be y equals -1. And the axis of symmetry on this one is what? Y equals 2. Now, it crosses the x-axis right here. The y value is 0. You get 1. Right. And that's how we want it to look. So far, so good. Okay. And one reason I can go through this a little faster than what we did the other day is you've already got the system down. You just have to deal with them opening to the right or to the left.